to the Triple B podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Triple B podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. I'm Tim.
I'm Ryan.
And this is a show about drinking bourbon, talking about wrestling, and blockbusters.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, we got a jam-packed session today, so we should just jump right into cashing in the bourbon in the bank.
Yeah, cashing in the bourbon in the bank this week. I still hate the fact that I accidentally had my wife put the logo on the wrong side of the fucking briefcase, but whatever. It is what it is. Still looks cool.
It is super cool.
Here we have for episode 14.
14
Timmy.
episodes.
14. We're almost to 15.
I know it.
It's craziness.
It's
right.
flying by.
We have. I'm gonna open it to you.
Oh,
I'm gonna present this to you.
Ooh, present.
The Whistle Pig.
Oh, I've been having my eye on this.
Yeah, same. I've seen it. We got the Whistle Pig piggyback. It's 100 proof. It's aged 6 years. I've seen this multiple times at different bars, specifically Crockett's down in Puyallup.
Okay.
And actually, what are we doing? Gotta keep the briefcase.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah, so I've seen this at multiple different places, and I've just never tried it.
Yeah,
And so I'm like, it's always on like a top shelf in the bars and stuff. I got this at Safeway this morning, at like 6 o'clock this morning with my 10-month-old daughter. So
looks
I'm
like
sure,
a boozer.
Yeah, I'm sure people were definitely giving me a stink eye. How the fuck do you get the goddamn plastic off the top of this bad boy? I'm just going to keep mindlessly talking while I'm trying to figure out how to open. There we go. All right, we're back. We got, let's go here. Let's do that. All right, we got @TripBpod for our Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and like we already said, YouTube. And we have our Gmail at triplebpod619@gmail.com. So that's all of our socials. Again, hit us up there. We'd love to hear from people, get comments, and all of that jazz.
Yes.
Back to the burb. Before we jump into our first full-blown talking points that we want to get to today, got this at Safeway this morning. It was on sale for like $55, right?
Okay.
I honestly don't remember what the original price tag for it was, but always look for sales. You know, like why not? That's bargain shopping. But yeah, so I've heard good things about it. I've seen it a lot, but I've never actually tried it. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going for it today.
Let's do it.
The piggyback.
Cheers, man.
Hells yeah. Cheers. All right. I think we got back on track a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's smooth.
It is.
It got a little kick towards the end there.
Yeah, I was going to say it's smooth, but it's like full.
Yeah.
It's full flavored. There's definitely
a flavor.
You
know, time was pretty bland.
Yeah, you know you're drinking bourbon here, which is solid. Yeah, smooth. It almost has like a oaky vanilla.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like
I definitely have a vanilla taste to that.
I like that a lot. That's really good. I could definitely see myself sipping on this at multiple times.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
All right.
7.5.
I was going to go 8.
Yeah.
It was a pretty solid bounce back from the last, I think the last 2 in a row we've had, we've ranked like back to back our lowest one.
Yeah,
so far.
pretty low.
Like 6.5 and then like a 6 somewhere in there. So
we're back.
We're back. We're back doing good stuff again. Yeah, I really like this.
Yeah.
It's quite delightful.
I'm excited to sip on this throughout the episode and excited to see what kind of cocktail we'll come up with to have this in.
I know. That's literally what I'm thinking. Oh, it says down here, in new American oak barrels. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I said oaky vanilla.
There you go.
All right. So, Timmy, week 1 of the NFL season, dog.
It's kicking off, man. We got 2 games already into the season.
Really good fucking games, too.
Yeah.
The Chiefs-Ravens on Sunday night, Thursday night football.
Yep.
however the fuck that works. I don't know why they can't just call it one. Like it's just a day. It's a Sunday night broadcast on Thursday night. Confusing. Yeah. And then they had a what was Friday? What were they calling Friday?
I didn't even catch it.
Was Friday like the Monday night or whatever? I don't know. It was just like, but they were calling it First Friday. But anyways, yeah, and that was the Packers versus the Eagles.
Yeah, I thought the Chiefs and Ravens, they got a great history together, and a lot of storylines going into just
definitely
Lamar Jackson versus Mahomes, and
definitely some quarterback rivalry there. It's almost like it's like the new age version of like Brady Manning.
Yeah,
right. It's both the higher powered AFC teams, and it's just like it always seemed Brady had Manning's number. Mahomes has Jackson's number.
Yeah,
that's that type of thing.
I feel like the NFL schedulers had like a WrestleMania card in mind or something, because they really did some great matchups for this first week of the NFL.
Yeah, they did. We at work we do like we have like a survivor pool, right? So it's like each week we just pick a game, and once you pick a team to win, you can't pick that team again throughout the rest of the season.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it gets. And then you get 2 buybacks, right? So it's like $5 at first, and then I think it's like $5 for your first buyback, and then $10 for your second buyback or whatever. So there's 5 of us, and by the end of the year, we have like $40 or whatever the math equates to.
Gotcha.
Maybe a little more at the end, but it was this first week we were looking at it. We're like, it took us a while to actually like look through the palette of games that we have, because it was like, what the fuck, like this is hard. It was like, who the fuck wants to pick between the Ravens and the Chiefs?
Nobody.
Right? And then it was like, all right, let's see who's playing against the Vikings, because they're should be fucking terrible this year.
Yeah.
And so it was like, who's playing against the Vikings? That might be a safe pick for week 1, not knowing anything about the teams, you know?
Yeah.
The fucking Giants. Great. So it's like most of the matchups are like mediocre team versus mediocre team, good team versus good team, shit team versus shit team, or like 2 teams that have brand new coaches and systems that you don't know what the fuck's going to be going on, right? Like you're looking at like Seattle and the Broncos, you know, like even that game, it's like obviously I'm a Seattle fan, so like I'm assuming Seattle's going to win. We're definitely a much more talented, like stacked roster than the Broncos, but it's like the Broncos have like I want to say they have a new OC now again too, maybe, and Bo Nix, brand new rookie quarterback. So it's like you don't know what the fuck to expect. So a lot of games like that this week. So it was hard to pick. I went with Houston over Indianapolis.
I think that's a safe bet.
I think that was I thought it was solid. I know it's like the Colts have Anthony Richardson, but it's like even if he is fully healthy and ready to roll, which I know he was a little banged up throughout the preseason, the rest of the roster is just kind of.
The Texans have a stacked team.
The Texans are loaded.
They were good last year,
really
and I think they picked up a lot of missing pieces this year. So, as a Titans fan, it hurts to say that because
but at least you're honest.
Yeah, I mean, but the Titans did a lot this offseason as well, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, including getting rid of arguably one of the best running backs in the history of the league, but
they picked up Tony Pollard, who's not the same. Not even
Derrick
in the
Henry.
same realm, but at least they attempted to replace him with something else more talented.
At least a solid back.
Yes,
for sure.
Exactly. Well, Sunday, Hawks versus Broncos. Obviously, do we want the Hawks to win? Do you think it's going to be a close game? What are you feeling?
I think it's going to be a 2-score game. Seahawks win. At least a 2-score. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than that. But in classic Seahawk fashion, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a field goal game that comes down to the wire either, just because that's the way Seattle has always played. But we got a new coaching staff almost all around. We kept one coach from the previous regime, and that was one of the secondary coaches. I think it was the safeties or corners coach. I can't remember. But he's the only one that was retained. Yeah. Other than that, it's all new from top to bottom. New schemes on both sides of the ball. We got the whole kickoff for the season is completely different. Yeah, so I don't. It's exciting, and this is what I've been telling everybody is like I'm just stoked for the season as a whole, because it's like it's the first time in fucking almost 15 years that we don't know what to expect from Seattle.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You
it's just exciting to not have real. There's no real expectations right now. We're hoping for the best, but
and then even in the preseason games, like we lost one, and the last one that we played was that one against the Chargers, whichever one. It was way closer than you probably would have wanted. I think it was Cleveland was the last one.
That's right, Cleveland.
Was closer than it probably should have been, and it was closer. Like the ending score was a lot closer than what the game even felt like it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's preseason, so you're only getting a glimpse of your starting team. But both games where some of the starters actually played, looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Like all around, Gino's first time taking the field, fucking it was a great drive minus the errant throw to start the game.
Yeah.
Other than that, you got right fucking on track, drove down and scored like it was nothing. Our starting defense, like every time the starting defense has been on the field so far, we've got the ball back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think we got the youngest coach in the NFL.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, me too. We went from the oldest to the youngest. So I'm thinking, and I think most people are probably on board, other than probably Broncos fans, that Seattle should win this game. They're pretty heavy home favorites. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're gonna get it.
I like it. That brings us
on to belts. We started the go-home show for Bash at Berlin SmackDown the night before with the open challenge, I guess, the open
U.S. champion challenge.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the LA Knight.
U.S. Open challenge like John Cena used to do.
There you go. I like that. So yeah, LA Knight just offered whoever was up for it in the locker room to come out and face him, right? And we had talked about it on the last episode, like, do we have any ideas? And we were both kind of like, not really, because like the only two people on SmackDown that really make that much sense were Melo and Andrade, but they're in this like what seems to be a best of 5 type of thing that they're going for. And we were like, that would be kind of weird.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It was like, who? But then it ended up fucking being like, oh, they're in Germany.
And then it seemed so obvious.
No fucking shit. So Ludwig Kaiser comes out and accepts the challenge. And then they square off. They have it was a good match. But LA Knight retained. LA Knight retained the title.
It was a fun match.
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was
solid.
A fun match.
I don't know that we've really seen them, at least not on the main roster, go one-on-one.
No.
Maybe ever.
Ludwig definitely shined, He did really well in the ring.
It was a good match.
Pretty good on the mic. I don't know if he's ready for a full solo run. I like that he's still attached to Gunther.
Yeah.
But he really balled out in this match, and I thought it was a good title defense, and we all knew LA Knight was going to win, but the crowd was really behind both of them, so it made it for a fun match.
Yes, absolutely. That was what was interesting to me, was the fact that they were in Germany, but it was literally like half and half. It was like half the crowd was fully behind LA Knight, and then the other half was behind Kaiser. So it was cool it was like Ludwig Kaiser, LA Knight.
Yeah.
Or Let's Go Kaiser, maybe was what they were saying. But either way, it was awesome. It was really cool to see that match happen, and it was completely, like I said, it was unexpected, but it made sense after it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he came out, it was like, oh, duh. But it was also like, oh, shit. Like it was kind of
it still caught me off guard because he's a Raw superstar, and you're just thinking SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yeah, which brings us to KO versus Cody face-off. It was not a match, just a little tee up to their match the following night, and KO talked about how he's won the championship in the past, but it was tainted. He was like, Triple H helped me, and people think it's a tainted win, and he doesn't want that, and he starts bringing up this phantom, or maybe not phantom, injury that Cody has. Cody's like, no, I'm 100%. See, it's fine, and it was kind of weird, but it started developing more of a story into the feud, and where it's kind of devolving into, all right, I see why we're facing off here, and why they're is some heat between them. And then Cody brings up history about kind of overshadowing his WrestleMania moment. KO faces Stone Cold. Do you think, damn, this is Stone Cold's first match in forever? Like
the biggest match of KO's career to date.
And then Cody comes back to WWE and kind of overshadows him. So it was fun to see that, like, they're still keeping it face versus face like you wanted, but they're also telling parts of why there could be beef between these two. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it opened the door for there being more than just the idea of KO stabbing Cody in the back, right? It was more than, like, because they needed more than that. And yeah, so I think it just opened up a little bit more of like, okay, there is more here than just that.
Yeah,
which allowed you to kind of get a little bit more invested into what's going on with it. So
the segment closes with Cody saying, "Dude, I love you, and I'm here to have a good match with you." And then KO whispers something to Cody, and
well, Cody actually the final thing Cody said was, "Win or lose, will we still be friends?"
That's true. Yeah,
and then there was like a hesitation, and then KO dropped the mic and then whispered something into Cody's ear and then walked out of the ring.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That was that. That brings us to what we had already kind of alluded to earlier, but the fourth match in the Carmelo Hayes and Andrade saga that we've been getting. It's Andrade was up 2-1 in the series, with Melo winning the most recent match. And I mean, dude, these guys are putting on fucking clinics in these matches, man. It's like you want to see how to fucking impress in the ring. Motherfuckers in the back, you should be sitting there taking notes on these matches that these guys have had, because it has been 4 straight weeks, a month straight of just toasted fucking matches, dude. They're fucking amazing.
It's like, I mean, you think of 4 matches in a row with the same people,
yeah, dude,
and you go, it seems
redundant.
Right? It doesn't seem exciting, but these guys find a way to step up each match, and I'm loving it. Dude, they're freaking loving it, man.
Carmelo won this match. They tied the series at 2, right? So, like we had previously mentioned, and you predicted, like, fucking 2 weeks and like after the second Andrade win, I think was when it was that, because it was like, oh, they're going to be fighting again, which seems kind of weird. But then you had mentioned the potential for a best of 5.
Yeah.
Clearly looks like that's what they're going for, is the best of 5, because now they're tied at 2. They have to have
gotta be a 5th.
Yeah, exactly. So they got to do another match. And so it's like, what's next with it? I had mentioned that day when we were watching Bash of Berlin that, like, they got to do something above and beyond. I don't think it can just be the 5th one. I don't think can just be another singles match, like just another straight up singles match, because they have fucking been straight just bangers of matches back to back to back to back now, and they're doing things in the ring each week that are just like upping it and upping it and upping it. Like some of the fucking shit that they did in this last match, the fucking springboard fucking, what is it, the Spanish fly?
The Spanish fly, yeah.
That was insane. Like, that is so dangerous.
I know.
Like, that is so dangerous to think about, even just how that move can work. Like, it's dangerous for them to hit it just off of the fucking corner.
Yeah.
Like the top rope turnbuckle when they're both stationary on top, planted, and both jump together. But for them to jump at the same time together off the middle rope, in the middle of, like, in between the 2 turnbuckles, and hit that so beautifully, it was just fucking insane. So I had mentioned to you that, like, I feel like the next match has to be a fucking, like, steel cage or a fucking TLC or, like, something that ups the stakes.
Something big.
To let these guys just continue to fucking show. Because, like, they're going to do some crazy shit in a stipulated match. Yeah. I don't think it can just be a straight singles match. And to add on to that, it has to be the main event. Yeah. It either has to be the main event or it's got to be on a PLE. But I feel like the next PLE is so far out that would be, that it's like we don't want to wait until October 3rd at fucking Bad Blood or whatever day of October it is.
Yeah.
To see the 5th match. Like that, it needs to happen either this week or the week after, and that point it has to be the main event because they've moved. They like started the show, then they were second match, then like they were like middle of the card, and then last week they were the match before the main event.
Yeah,
like it's got to be the main event to finish this feud.
I agree.
So now we're at the point now where it's literally like, well, I don't know who's gonna win, and either person winning would be believable now, which I think they've done a really good job with. Because at first it was like Andrade all the way.
Exactly. I know. I think well done. Because it could have. We were kind of scratching our head, going, why have a third match? But they put in a scenario there what led to that third match, and then it's progressed. So excited for that.
Totally.
Which brings us to our main event.
Yes.
Nia versus Michin in a street fight. Holy shit, man! Brutal match.
Fucking brutal. Yeah,
brutal. not as in like they wrestled poorly. It was brutal.
Like it was a good fucking. And again, everybody, this is coming from me, Ryan here, who has been on record as one of the largest Nia Jax haters known to man. Dude, it was a fucking great match.
It was.
It really was.
We had Tiffany Stratton. She was gonna cash in.
She was gonna cash in. She was like there was no like, oh oops, like, or then there was no ploy here. No, she was gonna fucking cash in. Yeah, she was getting ready to, and then she realized that Nia was looking at her.
She got caught. She got caught.
Like, oh no, that wasn't gonna happen. Don't worry.
And then bashed Michin in the head, and then Bayley returns. Haven't seen her since the loss to Nia at SummerSlam. And chases off Tiffy. Tiffy is away, so now it's just back to one-on-one. And then Nia just demolishes Michin, man. The only negative comments I gotta say is the Annihilator in the trash can just looks so dangerous for Michin.
Oh my god, I was literally just gonna say that. Like,
there was no like stop.
She didn't brace herself. Her legs were straight.
Yeah.
She usually like jumps from the middle rope and like kind of like lands on her feet, but then just like sits down, right?
Yeah.
Like, but does it smoothly to where it looks convincing, but you can also tell that like it was a pulled punch.
Yeah.
There was no fucking pull in that punch. And on top of it, Michin can't see when it's fucking coming.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part, I think, for me, is like you're having this ginormous woman with literally every ounce of her weight just drop straight onto the Michin's, in comparison, very small torso.
Yes.
And it was like, whoa! I saw it, I was like, oh my lord, she's dead. There's no way. And then, without even getting checked on, she starts fucking throwing shit at her.
I know
what are we doing?
The table. Throwing half the table. Like,
it's
I don't even know if she even landed on the trash can, but you see how heavy those tables are.
Yeah.
And just chucks it on top of her and then beats her with the kendo stick afterwards. I was just like, ooh.
Oh
like,
God. Yeah,
like,
the whole thing.
I wanted it to
like,
almost stop. I was just like, this is too brutal.
Yeah. Like, it's not often that we see a women's match in WWE, at least, that is to that point where we're literally, as the fans, like, holy shit, this needs to be stopped. Like,
yes.
God damn, this isn't good. Like, this is actually quite dangerous. I mean, there's been definitely multiple times where Nia's been in the ring where you're like, oh, this is dangerous, but it was just because at that point she was really fucking bad.
Yeah.
She has gotten a way better. She has improved significantly in the ring. You can tell that she has actually like really trained and taken it seriously. She's way better, and she can move way better in the ring now. But there were still moments where like those where you're like, oh God, is she just doing that off like the heat of what's going on? And she's just feeling it. So she's like, yeah, I'm a monster. I got to do this shit. Or like, was that talked about and planned? Because if it's the former, she needs to have a stern talking to in the back. You flattened a person with your ginormous butt. And then you threw half of a table at that person while they were in a garbage can.
Yep.
Then beat them with a kendo stick.
It was while the ref is trying to check on Michin.
While the ref's trying the ref's actually trying to like do their job, like the not just like the actual referee job, but like the human job of just checking on the person, make sure they're good. Holy fuck!
I want Michin to come back next episode of SmackDown or whenever she can return, because that was a brutal beatdown, but have like a camcorder inside the trash going saying, "My shoulders weren't down."
That would be fucking hilarious. Like, just so you know, I had a GoPro on that whole time. I was never on the ground. Which technically, even if a shoulder wasn't, like, even if both shoulders were flat, it's on top of a garbage can. It's not really on the ring. So,
True.
Controversy? I don't know. This brings us to Bash at Berlin. We went predictions on it, like we have for most of the other PLEs we've covered so far now.
We didn't forget a match. We did
not forget a match this time, which is, pat ourselves on the back there. Kudos to us doing our jobs in full now. But first match of the night started off with a fucking bang, dude. Cody versus KO for the Universal WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. That's a mouthful. They really just should go back to WWE Championship. But anyways, we had both predicted Cody to win this match. It was actually like a convincing match too. Like there were moments where you were like, oh fuck, KO's gonna pull this out. Oh shit, Cody's gonna retain. Going back and forth. I mean, goddamn, dude, it was a long match too. Like it was like a half hour. Over a half hour, I think. It was probably closer to 45-minute match. Because I didn't even get here. I was late getting there. And I was hoping it was the fucking tag match. But they started with that one. And yeah, dude, I was like a half hour late to your house. And they were still on. And so, I mean, it was a fucking awesome match. Cody did win. So we went 1-for-1 on predictions there. Cody retained after the match. There's the whole... Well, first off, during the match, there were 2 or 3 different moments where KO looked like he was having to really stop himself from going old KO. Yeah. Right? Like you could tell he could have targeted the leg. He stopped himself,
Went for the KO powerbomb onto the apron, but hesitated.
Yep, decided not to do that. For better or worse, like I could totally foresee it being like him realizing that he was too soft because he is friends with Cody, and that could potentially lead to issues in the future. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so after the match, you get Cody standing in the ring, KO standing in the ring. They embrace. You weren't sure if it was going to happen or not at first, but they do end up embracing. Cody goes to raise KO's hand, and he's like, no, what the fuck are you doing? And he raises Cody's hand. So, yeah, we got all the way through the match with what I was hoping it was going to be. Face versus face, start to finish.
Exactly. So. I like I talked about on SmackDown, I like that there was more added to this match storyline-wise. Yeah. And then that ending and during the match with the hesitations, it can lead to more, obviously, which I like further down the road. So great story, great match. Cody wins. All right, and that brings us to the women's tag title match.
First.
we got Jade and Bianca versus Isla and Dawn, the unholy team.
Unholy Union.
Unholy Union, correct. We both predicted Jade and Bianca would win, and sure enough, we were right. Throughout the whole pay-per-view, I would say that they let everyone wrestle pretty long because this was a lengthy match as well.
Yeah.
So it gave them time to shine. Just really, I'm sorry, I didn't have any interest and felt like it was pretty obvious who they were going to let win this one.
Yeah.
So nothing really big to talk about on this for me, at least.
No, yeah, same. It was a solid match.
Yeah.
It was good, but like we said on the predictions, it was just like there's no other option. It has to be Jade and Bianca, just the way that they built everything. Like if you don't do that, then it's like, okay, what the fuck are we doing here? So
I will say that I feel like Jade is just under Bianca's wing to kind of learn WWE style and everything, and she is showing improvement. I will say that about it, but I think she still got a ways to go before she can go solo.
I agree, 100%. There's moments when she's in the ring where she's trying to be that person, and she's going for certain things, but then it ends up then it's like almost an overzealousness that ends up leading to a botch.
Yeah,
and it's happened almost every single time she's been in the ring since she's debuted on the main roster. So Which not like, and I'm not like necessarily like trying to paint that in a dark light. That's just like the realisticness of it. She started in AEW. AEW is not WWE.
No,
They don't have the training, and it's obvious. Like, it is obvious. The people that really succeed in AEW, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, are people that came from another promotion.
True.
You know what I mean? Where like it's the Edges, the Christians, the Hardys, the Stings. You know what I mean? Like all the Jerichos, all the guys that like came from other places.
Yeah.
That are not as dangerous in the ring, I guess.
True.
That is one criticism of AEW for a long time now, has been like their lack of training and what leads to people getting injured.
Yeah.
You know. So anyways, yeah. Again, it was a solid match. Probably too long for what it was. Jade and Bianca picked up the win. Brings us to the strap match, which we both were on the same page. We both predicted Punk to win that match. It just made sense for the feud. We don't see this feud ending anytime soon. And so like we had to even the score, right? Yeah. And what a fucking way to do it too. Strap match, first time we've seen a match of this caliber type of stipulation in a long time, like we talked about in WWE at least.
Yeah.
McIntyre never being involved in a match of this type of stipulation, to my knowledge at least, I don't think.
He did actually with Karrion Kross.
Oh shit, that's right. That's right. God damn it.
Yeah. No, I thought the same, and then I read it, and I was like, holy crap, how did I forget about that?
And then Punk most recently being in the dog collar match?
Dog collar match, but his last strap match in WWE was with Umaga.
Yeah. I was just saying about like the most recent the
dog
type
collar
of stipulation was against MJF, right?
Yeah.
So in AEW. So fucking good match. This was solid. It was definitely like the next step in this feud that I think we needed to see, where it was like there's no DQ, there's no fucking running, there's no security getting involved to separate these two. There's nothing. They are literally fucking bound by a strap, which was kind of loosely bound.
Loosely bound.
We had a couple calls with that during the show. It was like they need to figure out a different way to strap these dudes together. I understand the ability to be able to take it off just in case like a something happens during the match, because you don't want someone's arm getting like fucking broken or ripped off. But at the same time, like you got to make it a little more believable than just like someone pulls them and then they're grabbing onto it to get pulled. Like that type of stuff is like, what are we doing? Do better. Just a little bit better.
Yes.
Just slightly, just make it more believable. But great match all in all. Punk did end up getting the win. He hit fucking like 3 or 4 GTSs in a row after hitting each turnbuckle.
I like that touch on it.
Yeah, me too. I liked it. It was just like solidifying, right? The last one he hit, I could have asked McIntyre to sell it a little better. It was a little awkward.
Yeah.
But it was like he hit the ground and then stumbled. Like he lost his balance, actually, like stumbled and kind of was like being electrocuted as he fell to his butt and then went back. It was kind of weird, but all in all, the match was really solid. Continuing the number one feud in the company right now, I would argue.
I would agree. I like that this match didn't have, it's a strap match. You think they're just going to whip each other the whole match, and they had some of that, but it wasn't like the whole match. So I like that. And it took it to that next brutal step into this feud, right? Yeah. It's not like the stipulation that is like the end all be, but it added that next layer to it, and I thought that was great. So I think the right person won. They did a great job throughout the match, and enjoyed it.
And important piece to note here: before Punk hit the final turnbuckle, he made sure he recovered his wristband with Larry and AJ on it. So that's a driving part of this feud is that fucking wristband. So he got the wristband back. The wristband was what caused them like a big portion of this feud to get so personal, and then it's also what caused Punk to lose at SummerSlam. And so he was able to finally get the wristband back.
Good call on that. That brings us to the next tag team match. It was Livdom versus Terror Twins. We got split decisions on this.
On the prediction.
Ryan went with Livdom on that, and I went with Terror Twins. And in hindsight,
can I clarify?
Yes,
I went with Livdom for a specific reason.
Yes,
and the reason happened but my prediction didn't. It didn't fully play out. I went with Livdom because I was like, there's no way the Judgment Day doesn't get involved, and I think that would further this feud.
Yes.
Continue.
No, and after making my decision and then you doing your talking points last episode, I was like, did I choose the right team to win? And I did. I ended up, lo and behold, Terror Twins do win despite anything. I hate that I was right in this. Because,
I do too.
Because it made Terror Twins seem just undefeatable. Like, you have everyone interfering, yet you still win. I get that both of them, Rhea and Priest, are tough. They're monsters. They're supposed to be top guys in the company, but you have everyone interfering. To your point, you want to further this feud, and I see how they do it. We'll get into more of it later on, but it was a weird to be right on this one because of how unstoppable they looked.
Yeah, it just made me curious. I felt really good about my prediction. Like, I was like, I feel like this is the way it needs to go for this to continue. Because again, just like the Punk and McIntyre thing, like, this isn't ending anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that with like that doesn't make sense for it to end anytime soon. So it's like it needs to continue to build, which I felt like would have been the right thing to continue to build Priest and Rhea as like the underdogs against this group that ousted them and all of that. So it now being wrong, obviously, in that, and them ending up prevailing in this match makes me just curious as to like where the fuck are we going with this in the future? And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, like, because everything they've done with this whole thing has been good so far. So like I fully trust in what's happening, but it just obviously swerved me. So
I guess the only other way to look at it, and I just thought about it, is just this is kind of a way for Rhea and Priest to go through all of Judgment Day for Priest to get to Finn Balor at the end of it, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, Rhea's endgame is Liv, so going over that team, that's where kind of loses that credibility. But on Priest's side of things, he's going through Dom. Next up would be JD and Carlito, and then getting to Finn, maybe. That's my only thoughts. But no, I agree with you. I think the wrong team won here.
Yeah. This brings us to the main event of the show, which was for the World Heavyweight Championship between Gunther and Randy Orton. We had a hell of a build to this. We both predicted, maybe a little begrudgingly, that Gunther was going to retain. I still think it was the right move. And I've gone back and forth with myself as to the finish and how I feel about it. Because at first I was like, "Fuck, man!" They didn't even submit Orton. It was a fucking KO. Like, it was a sleeper hold with the single arm drop that ended the match. And at first I was like, "To Randy, really? That's the way this is ending?" But then at the same time, I'm like, "Fuck, that actually almost benefits Randy Orton in a sense, because it's like he didn't tap. He literally, like, the only way Gunther could win that match was by completely incapacitating him."
I agree. I think
so.
You couldn't have said it better. I think Randy Orton deserves to look strong in this feud, and you can't really do that if it's just a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
But having to beat Randy Orton down so bad that he just gets incapacitated and gets the KO, I think it was the right way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I at first was like, fuck, that kind of didn't protect Randy very much at first, because in the moment it looks like you're looking at it like, fuck, he literally just got destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But then thinking further into it, I'm like, no, that actually, I think that was the right way, because I do think that protected Orton. That made him look like the most formidable foe that Gunther could have faced in this situation. For the first title defense, for it to go to that extent, to have to hit the sleeper like 3 different fucking times in succession to finally get it, I think it was solid. So, Timmy won on predictions for this PLE. He went 5 for 5. I went 4.5 for 5. I'm calling it 4.5 because my interference prediction was right.
Just one more.
I'm taking every little bit I can. What
one more point on the Gunther and Randy. The only thing I didn't like is it felt very slow paced. The match went on for a really long time, and I wanted it to go a long time, but it just felt slow.
If it was, I don't think the match itself was the quality that I was expecting.
Yes,
which is what made it
at the Castle. Was that when they last No, King of the Ring.
Yeah, King of the Ring. King of the Ring. It was. It wasn't. Yeah, it didn't pop the way that their first match did. It did feel a lot slower, and I mean, it was fucking long. It had to have been the longest match on the card.
I think easily. Yeah.
I mean, dude, it forced Bash at Berlin of all PLEs to go over 3 hours.
True.
Which was crazy to us. Like, we both were like between 2 and 2.5 hours. You know, like we figured
5 matches.
Yeah, it was 5 matches. Yeah, and then this match alone had to have been close to an hour long match, dude. It was fucking crazy. So, but I mean, it's like both great competitors in the ring, so I don't necessarily know exactly what it was. It just felt slow and drawn out.
Yeah.
So
this brings us to our 3 bells rating for a PLE. We rate a PLE after we've watched it out of 3 bells. We can do decimal system on this, obviously. What do you give this one?
I think I'm gonna go with like a 2, 1.5.
Okay,
maybe.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 1.5. I think I'm going to go right down the middle. The Cody KO match was fucking awesome. The Punk McIntyre match was great. I think I'm kind of 50-50 on the Gunther Orton match because of what we just talked about. The women's tag match was like could have literally not been on the card, and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. Almost would have put the street fight. Nia Jax and
for
Michin
sure.
on there.
Absolutely, 100%. I think that to a point that's almost disrespectful to Nia Jax being the women's champion that didn't happen. But the other tag match, Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, was fine. Again, it was nothing to write home about, I don't think. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go like it was a very mediocre all around PLE for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm going to 1.1.
Oh, you're lower than me.
I'm rating it pretty low just because, like, yes, the storylines were there. We had some good matches, but it also, it kind of, like, the whole night felt like it was just drawn out.
Yeah.
And felt long, and I don't know. It just was, maybe it's just because it's the one post SummerSlam. We were very high on SummerSlam.
And a little bit of a...
We knew there was going to be a lull. Like I said, the storylines...
The honeymoon phase is over, if you will.
The storylines were there. The matches were good. I don't know. It was not a home run to me. I think... Yeah, so it's not a bad thing. It's not... Yeah. It's not... No. We're going to have some lull moments of the year, and I think we've rated most PLEs pretty high since we started this podcast.
All right, that brings us to Raw, the episode after Bash at Berlin. The show opens with a bang. We get Rhea Ripley coming out. There are not a whole lot of other ways that I want the show to open than hearing Rhea's fucking music hitting first. So
absolutely, man.
Rhea comes out. Essentially at this point, she's now on the mic. They're off of a, clean tag win over Dom and Liv at Bash at Berlin. And she's now calling Liv Morgan out. She wants a goddamn title shot, right? She wants, specifically, she says, I want back the one thing I haven't lost. Because she had to vacate the title earlier in the year, right? So, yeah, all this kind of, her just calling Liv out ends up leading to Dom coming out and kind of confronting her and getting booed like crazy like usual. He makes his way to the ring, gets in the ring. They're kind of going back and forth, trading barbs here and there. Liv Morgan tries to get a little cute.
Yeah, she does.
Tries to attack Rhea from behind. Rhea, eyes in the back of her head, knew that shit was coming.
She could see it a mile away.
Fucking popped her, took her down, kind of went after Dom. One thing led to another, ends up leading to Rhea getting wrapped up in the ropes. She gets wrapped up in the ropes in a way that actually was pretty believable and that ended up being like something actually fucked up in her leg. They're kind of beating her while she's in that position, upside down, hanging from the ringside, and Priest comes out, kind of saves the day. This all leads to a backstage segment with Rhea, got like a big ice pack on her leg, clearly gimped up, having issues there, and Priest wants a match, but he kind of is like, we don't really have any friends on the roster, so he's like, I'm gonna figure it out. And then Rhea's like, wait, I know somebody. And then before Priest walks off, because at first he's like, oh, okay, well, let me know how it goes. And then he kind of walks away and he comes back and he goes, let me know what he says. Because he realizes who she's talking about. All said and done, ends up being Jey Uso. There's history there between Jey and Priest, between Jey and Rhea, Jey and Judgment Day as a whole. A little bit later, we get another backstage segment with Priest kind of not confronting, I don't think, but it was more just like man to man with Jey, just like, hey, we've had our shit in the past. Let's kind of squash this. Jey kind of talks about like, yo, I get what you're going through. Like I've been there, his time in the in the bloodline, obviously, like been in a very similar situation. So they just kind of squash shit and are like, let's do this. I got you. Let's go. Leads to the main event. That's Jey and Priest against Finn and JD. We get a pretty damn good match. Fucking JD McDonough is a stuntman in the ring.
Yes, he is.
Pretty fucking good, but he can sell the shit out of anything, dude. It's fucking crazy to me, like how good he is at just selling moves. And I mean, the announcers themselves shit on JD. Like I've shit on JD because he's just like the way that he is being presented just makes him not like believable to be able to like hold his own in the ring or win a match. But it's like when you really break it down and look at him in the ring, he's really fucking good.
Yeah,
he's super athletic. He has this smaller frame that allows him to make these moves from these bigger dudes look even more devastating.
True.
Like the fucking South of Heaven choke slams that he takes on almost a weekly basis now at this point. He looks like he's fucking 25 feet in the air. Like he's like flying above and then crashing down and hitting and landing it perfectly every time too. Like it's impressive. So all in all, you get Jey and Priest winning that match. It was a non-title match against Finn and JD. It's more just a grudge match between them, just kind of out for blood at that point. But yeah,
few points on that. Just like you said, I like that they kind of cleared up why would Jey team up with Priest and just talking about the history with the bloodline. I think that was smart. It makes it make sense to me. It gets me thinking of where this feud is going with Judgment Day. Like you said, yeah. I think the end game you said is got to be Priest versus Finn Balor. And how are we getting there? Because right now it looks like maybe Jey and Priest maybe go for the tag titles. Is that the next step? It's a little confusing. Yeah. And then also Rhea looks injured. Like at first it looked like a fake injury when she came out to confront Liv during the main event, but then was definitely hobbling. So does this like prolong their title match maybe, which makes sense to me. Kind of lets it brew a little longer for their feud. But yeah, just kind of confused of how we're going to get to the final end game of Finn Balor versus Priest.
Yeah, because like I've said before on previous episodes, I feel like that's got to be the outcome that we get here is just that singles match. Mm-hmm. And neither of them obviously have. Finn's obviously tag title, but for it to be a solo match, there's obviously not going to be gold involved with that. But I feel like that's where it has to lead to. It's just like the 1v1 to put the final nail in the coffin on that side of it, and then the 1v1 Liv and Rhea for the title. That has to be where that goes. So, I feel like where we're going is it seems clear, but how we're getting there, that's the part that's a little more murky right now. Because it's like, and I don't hate that. I feel like I know where it's going to. I just don't know how it's getting there yet, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So that brings us to Punk. CM Punk coming out, and he is happy as all hell. He just got a win over Drew in the strap match, and he's happy to be alive in Denver. And I'm kind of confused by that because it's just like it's one win apiece. Like, how is this feud over, and why is he challenging Gunther for the title? Like, I get it. You got your bracelet back, and you think it's over, but I think it's far from over, right?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it should be far from over. Maybe not far, but because it's 1-1. So, like, my assumption would be that we're gonna get at least one more, and I wouldn't be surprised if that one more is the final.
Yeah.
Final nail.
Yeah.
Right. And that should be, but Punk's acting like you said. Like now is over, and like him evening the series was the final. Which that's a little odd. He's calling out Gunther, and well,
we get CM Punk celebrating on the announce table, very eerily similar to Drew celebrating on the announce table at WrestleMania after he won the title, and he gets chopped down by Drew McIntyre, and proceeds to get the living hell beat out of him, taking on
holy shit,
Claymore after Claymore after Claymore, and they were brutal ones, man.
They were, dude. It was I feel like Punk told McIntyre in the back, hey, kick me in the fucking head as many times as you need. We're gonna sell this, because it did not look like there was any pull to that punch at all. It straight up looked like he was getting absolutely brutalized. Giant boot. McIntyre has to wear like a size fucking 15. Just to the fucking dome. And yeah, it was wild.
Drew gets the bracelet back. He rips it apart, shoves the beads in CM Punk's mouth, and then proceeds to give one more Claymore that looked more devastating than the rest of them.
It was so cinematic, because
it really was.
He put the beads in the mouth, and then he goes for the Claymore, and right before it happened, I was like, oh, these beads are going everywhere. And he fucking catches him, and Punk spits the beads out like perfect timing, like makes it kind of look like teeth are flying all over the place. Like it was very well done. I think point to that is the intensity growth of this feud just in this segment took it to a whole other level, because not only the brutalization of the beatdown of CM Punk, but the bracelet, right? We've talked multiple times now about how important this bracelet is in this whole situation in this feud, but you get McIntyre taking the bracelet off, and you're like, oh fuck, here we go again. Right? It's like, oh shit, now it's going to be a whole other fucking focal point for Punk. It's going to lead to more shit in the future. It's going to distract him and get him off target here. But McIntyre takes it a step further and fucking destroys the bracelet. So now it's like,
and I like how Drew stopped. Like it looked like he was just about to put it on.
Well, he did. Then he like put it on, and then
he stopped.
Took it back off.
That was epic right there.
All right, where's he going? And then it was like, oh shit, he's gonna break this, and lo and behold, he fucking snaps it. So that was like not even just like, ooh, I'm gonna parade around with this. Like it was you don't fucking get this anymore. I know this means this much to you. I'm destroying it just because I know it's gonna hurt you that much more.
And they take it a step further. Drew attacks him while he's on a stretcher in the back. Getting put on an ambulance, and CM Punk's bleeding in the mouth. I just got to say, I think this was the right step in this feud. I think leading to the strap match, it kind of lost some of the fizzle. I think it was good. I'm not saying it isn't, but it just lost some of the oomph that we saw leading into the SummerSlam match. And then we had the Bash and Burns. This is just the next step on top of that. And I'm really excited to see where this leads. I think, to your point, I think it leads to one final epic with stipulation match.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that's what it needs to be. Again, I think it would be hard to go from singles match to a strap match back to the singles match, right? So they got to do something to up it and make the situation that much more impactful, meaningful, intense, to just continue to let this feud boil. We get a Intercontinental #1 Contenders Tournament match updates.
Yep.
We had two more triple threat matches for the Intercontinental #1 Contenders Fatal 4-Way match that we're going to have next week on Raw. And these triple threat matches were to add the final two people into that Fatal 4-Way. So currently we got Jey Uso and Pete Dunne, and then we had a triple threat match between Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, and Dom. Ended up essentially kind of turning into a one-on-one match, which I think, my opinion, was for the better in the match.
I think so too.
Carlito came out and interfered. to try to help Dom win. Priest came out, chased them both off. So once that happened, Dom was no longer in the match, and it ended up literally just being Ilya and Dragon Lee. They cooked, dude.
Yeah, they did.
I want to say that like these two in the ring together was probably like the Raw equivalent of Carmelo and Andrade. Like it was, they're so fucking good. Ilya Dragunov comes out on top, man. I mean, it was they were pushing each other and they're doing some awesome shit in the ring, but Ilya Dragunov comes out on top, which was I believe that was your
my
pick to win the whole tournament.
Yeah.
So that's one step closer for you there.
I say those two really got me excited for the mid-card roster. I think
Absolutely.
the future is bright. I think there's a lot of contenders for the Intercontinental Champion, and they're all believable, and those two just prove what's exciting about this roster right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We get another triple threat match. It's Sheamus, Kaiser, and was supposed to be Bronson Reed. We get
A banged-up Strowman.
a banged up Strowman.
A taped-up Strowman.
Yeah, it was slightly confusing just as a whole situation. I know we had found out before Raw that Bronson Reed was out due to illness.
Yeah.
So they had to pull him. But then it almost made even less sense to then fill that void with Braun Strowman.
Yeah, agreed.
And then even farther to then have Braun Strowman be the one that won the match. It was just like, what the fuck? But like, again, like he's got the KT tape all up and on his side. Like he just got fucking brutalized the week before by Braun Strowman with the tsunami on the top of the car. It was kind of weird. It was confusing, but it also, I do think, played into the monster among men, right? Like,
Yeah.
that Braun Strowman is and has been his entire career. So like to a point, I think it was good for him in that regard, like for that, but it also like it didn't really make a lot of sense storyline wise because it was like he just got fucking like the last thing we saw of Braun Strowman was him literally writhing in pain on the ground, saying that he can't feel his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we get now Bronson Reed, who walked off after that the week before, literally under his own power, walked off, refused medical attention, and now he's out for medical reasons, kayfabe. But now you get the guy that he just destroyed the week before joining the match and then winning it. I don't know. This kind of like, again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying with like, why the fuck was Pete Dunne in this match and winning this match? Why the fuck was Karrion Kross in this match? Why is Braun Strowman in this match? I feel like there's other people that could have been in these places that could have been like better off for it.
Throw Carlito in it.
Yeah, like
we're just gonna throw anyone in.
Or JD even at that point. Like I don't know. Like it would have just been like I don't know. It was confusing. But you get Strowman. So next week on Raw, we're gonna have Fatal 4-Way: Strowman, Jay, Pete, Ilya for the number one contender for fucking Braun Breaker. There's so many Brauns. Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. For Braun Breaker's IC title. And yeah, I feel like I'm definitely, if I wasn't before, I'm definitely on board with your prediction. I think Ilya, I think it's a no-brainer. Ilya's going to win this match.
I think there's just too many outside forces going into it. We got Bronson Reed lingering and seeing Braun Strowman go on. I don't think he's going to take likely to that. So if he's medically clear next week, I think there's interference. We got
one thing we didn't mention was that Pete Dunne interfered in the triple threat match to keep Sheamus from winning. So like my brain immediately goes to there's no chance Pete Dunne's winning that match now because Sheamus isn't going to let that happen. So Sheamus, if we don't get interference from Sheamus in some form, I will be shocked.
And then we also got a backstage segment with Braun Breaker and Jay.
Yeah.
Like, easily could see him interfering and costing Jay. So that leaves Which is
interesting, too, with that backstage segment because he, like, confronted specifically Jay. Well, because was it the week earlier he had called Jay out?
Yeah.
Like, he had just called Jay out. And then this week, he's like, did you hear what I said last week?
Yeah.
And was like, you need to fucking bow out. Or I'm going to come for you. But it was like, what about all of the other people that are in this tournament too? Why is it just specifically aimed at Jey Uso?
True.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, why? Whatever. Like, it is what it is. But now all of a sudden we have this kind of awkward confrontation between those two who have never been in the ring together at the same time. Like, but yeah, so I feel like Ilya is the only one that doesn't have potentially a target on his back. So it just makes sense for him to win this.
Agreed. that leads us to a really confusing spot. I kind of disappointed in the trajectory of the women's division in WWE, other outside of Liv and Rhea, and now Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. They're pretty much the only bright spots in the women's division right now. But we get the Unholy Union versus Damage Control, and Unholy Union comes out on top. It's just
shocking.
It was shocking.
2 days after they dropped the titles after a very insignificant title run that probably shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yeah, there's
weird.
no excitement for me.
No,
if Damage Control wins, it's a fresh match. Plus, they can cook in the ring.
Yeah.
I don't get the direction on that, but
I don't get it either.
Don't want to talk too much on it.
Yeah. We get Gunther coming out and, kind of addressing his successful title defense at Bash at Berlin over Randy Orton. To his credit, he gives all the respect to Orton, which is more than deserved for sure. Pretty much, talks how it took him to his limits type thing. He was able to come out on top. And yeah, you just kind of get Gunther in the ring doing Gunther stuff.
Yep.
He's bashing on the Denver crowd like he normally does when he's in the States. You actually get a moment where you hear Joe Tessa. Is it Tessator or Tessatori?
Tessatori.
I don't know.
Tessator.
Anyways, you get Raw's brand new announcer. You get the comment from him that, just a couple days ago he was so nice. And it was because he was in Germany where he's from, and now he's back in the States and he's an asshole again. And you get classic Gunther on the mic, just doing his thing on the mic. But I think the most exciting part about this whole thing was the fact that you get Sami Zayn coming out. And damn it, man, I called this shit a while ago.
Yes, you did.
I said that after Sami took the IC from Gunther, that his IC run, what he was doing with it and how it was going, needed to eventually put him in the main title picture, just like it did for Gunther.
Yep.
And lo and behold, it hasn't been confirmed, but that's what it looks like we're leaning towards. That's what Sammy's gunning for. Comes out and essentially tells him that he wants that title. He talks about all the people with the IC title before them, like we're talking about legends, and how like they've all used that title as a stepping stone to the main card, and how Gunther used it as a stepping stone to the main card, and that's what his plan is. And then Gunther mentions how you mentioned all the legends that you just said, but you're not on that list, and you're not gonna be on that list. And he declined. Yeah, right. He declines the Sammy's challenge, and he's walking up the ramp back towards the stage, and Sami says, wait. I know why you're declining this, because I'm the only one that's beat you in the middle of the ring, which is absolutely true.
Yep.
Since Gunther has been on the main roster, Sami's the only one that has pinned him 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you could tell that we didn't really get anything else. Gunther didn't say nothing else, but you could tell by the look on Gunther's face. Something's brewing here. Yeah. Sami got under his skin. Sami played those strings perfectly, and again, not confirmed, but it's looking even more and more likely after all of that we're going to end up getting Sami versus Gunther.
I couldn't be more happier that you were right in this and what you wanted, and I Triple H is listening. I'm telling you.
You're damn right he is.
He's listening.
He loves our podcast.
Yeah, he loves it.
Number one fan.
I'm here for it. They had a great build going into WrestleMania, and I think this just takes it a step further.
Yeah.
I think this is what's needed, and I'm excited for it.
Absolutely, dude. Well, this brings us to our banger of the week. What do you got for us, Timmy?
I gotta go with Sami Zayn. Just his passion on the mic is just next to no one. I had chills listening to his speech, going through the legends, and basically stating his case of why he deserves a World Heavyweight Championship title match. I think back to when he faced off against Roman, and I was rooting for him hard then, even though I knew that he had zero chance of winning, but I was full on believing in that he could do it, and I'm going to be the same way with this, even though Gunther will probably win, but I'm going to be rooting for Sammy on this, which is just telling how good of a face he is.
Yeah. Dude, Sammy's intensity on the mic is almost unmatched.
It's
today
just so
in
much
the-
passion in it,
It is.
right?
It's so much passion, and you can. He's actually. I think this is actually a pretty good fucking like comparison. I feel like he is like probably 2015's Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah.
But like because like it's very. I feel like it's very similar.
Mhm.
Very parallel characters. I think
I would agree.
both kind of been told they're not good enough to be that guy. You know, like all that stuff. Crazy hair, crazy beard.
True.
And there's the intensity on the mic when they're fucking going at it like that it's I love Sami Zayn, so I'm excited for that. My banger of the week, I'm gonna go against my own grain here, and I have historically not been a fan of Nia Jax. I'm fucking putting Nia Jax as my banger of the week because I think she has turned me into more of a fan of hers.
It's about time.
Yeah. Dude, but to my credit, she was fucking garbage before.
She was
really bad in the ring, and I'm not just saying that to like just be a critic. Like it was like she was actually bad in the ring to the point where she was injuring people on a regular fucking basis, and like that's not okay. But like you can tell that she has gotten more training. She has taken it seriously. Moves way better in the ring. Like she's not just this gigantic structure that just can't be moved.
Agreed.
Right. It's like she's actually moving well in the ring. She's doing things that are like she wasn't doing before. And this fucking street fight like just put that over the top for me. And just like the brutalness at the ending of it was like fuck, dude. Because there was a point in time where it was the whole like, oh, she's this monster. The women's division was like almost overplayed, and it was just because of her size, even though she was terrible in the ring. But now it's like she's kind of put it all together. She's clicking on all cylinders. She's just going, man. And it's great. And then like the icing on top is the tension between her and Tiffany Stratton. So all of it together, it's the whole package right now, I think. And like we pointed out, like that and the Rhea and Liv, the two main titles, the two women's titles are the only two like real bright spots going on in the women's division right now. And that's not saying that lightly because they're really good in what they're doing right now. So
I agree. I think just to add on to that, I just think Bayley, I love her, but her title reign was not hitting on all cylinders and didn't really have me excited for that title, and Nia is taking it to that next level. So really excited for that. Which brings us to the belts question of the week. I posed this one for you.
Yes, you
the
did.
World Heavyweight Champions seem pretty set in stone for this foreseeable future. We have Gunther, we got Cody Rhodes. It seems like they're the anchors right now on both brands. I think it's safe to say we don't see them losing it anytime soon. I know you've been a big supporter of giving Sammy the belt and totally agree with you. Who else would you like to be in that title picture and win it with the current brand-specific roster setup? So select one for the World Heavyweight Champion, can't be Sammy, and one for the Undisputed Heavyweight Champion, cannot be Randy.
You're an asshole because you always put these fucking stupid stipulations on these questions. Because those would be my answers, and you know it. And it's
people
horseshit.
already know.
I know, but that's because I stand by it. They should be.
Your runner-up then.
Okay, so my first one is for Raw,
Okay.
which is going to make my second one maybe a little confusing. So it's for the World Heavyweight Champion, Otis.
Okay.
I know that seems weird,
But
I feel like my gut told me to go Uncle Howdy.
Okay.
But it's too early. It's too soon. I don't think it would. They got to keep building the mystery of Uncle Howdy, and they got to keep building that character and him getting the first solo win over Gable last week. It was great. It was huge. I'm going Otis for just I think Otis versus Gunther would be a fucking great match. Because Otis is really fucking good.
He really
Like,
is.
he's really good. He's up there with like those meat masters that can fucking move in the ring and do some good shit. Like him,
Very
Bronson
athletic
Reed, Braun
as well.
Strowman.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're both, all of them are just big ass dudes that can fucking move in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think he's the one that just hasn't really been pushed. He's kind of been put in goofy.
He won the Money in the Bank at one time.
He won the Money in the Bank at one time.
I know he got lost
yeah.
the briefcase, but still, I could see it.
Yeah, so
Someone believed him.
I think that's definitely one that kind of fits this question well. That's kind of an under the radar guy that you could also at the same time see get a push, and that could be realistic.
I like it
For the WWE Championship, because that's what I'm calling it. I'm not saying all the other stuff to it. It's the WWE Championship. If I can't pick Randy Orton because you're an asshole, I'm gonna go a way that you might not see coming. And like I said, it might be confusing because it's SmackDown, and I know that when he does come back, it's probably gonna be on Raw because it's going to Netflix. But I'm saying Cena. Cena versus Cody, like the old true baby face of the franchise with the new true baby face of the franchise. Yeah, it would put us in another face versus face match, but I mean, this would be one where there is no like antics. There's no like, oh, is he going to stab you in the back thing? This would just be like straight face versus face, like as face versus face as it fucking ever could have been. You know, I mean, this would be the equivalent of fucking The Rock versus Hogan. Michaels versus Flair. Like, all of it. So, Cena versus Cody. That's what I'm going.
Dude, I like both answers. I did not see either of those come in. Should have seen the Cena one come in if can't pick Randy, but...
yeah.
All right, my two.
Yeah, what are you doing?
For the World Heavyweight Championship, I want Finn Balor. He became the first Universal Champion and had to immediately relinquish it because of injury. The guy is one of my favorites.
He's unbelievable.
He's so good. What he's doing with Judgment Day has been great, and he just seems to always find his way near the top of the card. He just is consistent, and I think deserves another reign at the championship. And then on the undisputed heavyweight champion side of things, WWE Championship to Ryan. I think I'm going to throw you off here, but Johnny Gargano. Watching him in NXT, he kind of got what we were just talking about with Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. He had that underdog thing going on in NXT. He is so passionate on the mic when he's solo. I'm not a huge fan of what has been going on the main roster, minus him being teamed up with Tommaso Ciampa has been really good. That's the more recent. But again, he's kind of got that build of Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn, and I think it would be epic to just have him in that title reign and just watch everyone appreciate what I do in him. So
yeah, you definitely threw me off with that. I thought for sure you were going Austin Theory.
Nope.
Which is kind of funny because then you went fucking you went Gargano on it, which is
kind of similar thoughts.
Well, yeah, but they've obviously been feuding too. So I really thought you were gonna go Austin Theory on it though, because I don't know. That's just what I thought you were gonna go. But yeah, so we kind of both threw each other off on both those.
I like it.
Question, Timmy.
I like it.
That brings us to Blockbusters! We are here with a almost as fresh as it could be, short of us watching it this morning.
True.
Fresh review, hot off the presser. Timmy and I went and saw Alien Romulus last night.
Heck yeah,
we did. It's been a couple weeks in the making now. It's been out for a couple weeks. We've been saying, like, dude, we got to go fucking see this movie. We talked about it a lot leading up to it premiering. And just, life happens. We weren't able to get there sooner, but we got to it last night. Theater was still pretty fucking busy.
It was packed.
Yeah, it was packed for this movie still. And this is in its third weekend, I think.
Yeah, when I bought the tickets, it was only us two and one other two, and when we got there, the
whole fucking
theater
thing
was full.
Yeah, so
So that's exciting to see.
yeah, for sure, absolutely. It's just kind of testament to the pull this movie has going right now, which is pretty goddamn good. So we're gonna try to get through this spoiler free. We don't want to give anything away.
My lips are sealed.
Yeah, hopefully we don't give too much. We're just really gonna talk about kind of what we thought of the movie, the tone of it, how we thought the cast was, the acting in it, and then the kind of just all around this the plot of it, which is what you can get from the trailers, you can get it from the
synopsis.
Just like synopsis of the movie, right? So we're not going to try to go into any details, give anything away, anything like that. But yeah, dude, what did you think of it?
Dude, I freaking loved the movie, man. It had a lot of callbacks to the older parts of the franchise.
Yeah.
The tone was more set in more leaning towards on the horror side of things, and I gotta say, I was jumping left and right.
Kudos to the filmmaker. Yeah.
I was legit creeped out throughout the whole movie. The cast was a lot of people I don't know. It was a lot younger, which I thought which was nice. And the plot, I thought the plot had a really good point to it. You know, they're trying to get off of the company planet and go to this new one where the sun exists and, you know, people aren't dying from disease and whatnot. So overall, I thought the movie did great things. I think the thing it did was just the creep factor. It had me legit creeped out, and it didn't lean too much into the gore side of things, which I thought with this director, he did Evil Dead Rises, and that movie is pretty gory.
Yeah.
So I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
Good story to it. I only have one complaint about it, and I don't want to talk about it because it would be a spoiler, but it was towards the end of just how something looked. But other than that, it was a solid movie.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, dude, I fucking loved it. I think it might be my favorite entry in this franchise.
Damn.
It's really up there for me. To your point with the gore or the lack thereof, almost of the goriness to it, I really appreciated that because I feel like it felt in the same vein as the originals that weren't there were the moments where someone's just getting fucking pulverized, but they don't show it because they don't have to, because you know it's happening. Type of thing. Like you see like a glimpse of it, right? But you don't see it just fucking happening. Like some other movies, like you're like, oh my god, that's over the top, right? But like this one, it was really well done. I thought the camera work in it was fantastic. There was only one person that I actually know who they are, and it's Isabella Merced, and that's because she was in Madam Web.
Oh yeah,
She's also playing. I think the character's Hawk Girl in James Gunn's Superman.
Okay.
So like she's a younger actress that is kind of like upcoming, but she's like blowing up now. But this was like the second of the primary three things that she's like coming out in now, right? Like Madam Web, which, like it or not, however well or poorly it did, she was in that blockbuster of a superhero type film.
Yeah.
Then she was in this, and then she was in, and that's if you didn't know who she is, she was the sister.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I knew her. I thought the rest of the cast was like I didn't know any of them, but they were all like it was really good. I thought the casting was done well. I liked that I didn't know a lot of them, that they weren't like a bunch of them weren't like really well-known actors, because it was just like, all right, it was just like, these are new faces, new characters that I've never seen before. Where like there's sometimes in certain movies where it's like I've seen this person play this character 1,000 times and now they're playing this, and it's hard to get that out of your mind. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I thought it was refreshing to have that. I can't remember a movie that was more anxiety inducing, that was more stressful, that was like legitimately terrifying at moments. I said this to you as we were walking out last night, but like in the whole franchise of everything that has to do with the aliens, the Facehuggers have always been the thing. Like the xenomorph in itself, in real life, yeah, that would be fucking terrifying. But in the movies, like I'm just like, yeah, that's just the alien.
Yeah.
But the Facehuggers are fucking terrifying to me. They always have been. They're creepy as shit. I have a thing about octopus and squid, like the things with the tentacle, like they creep me out. I do not like them. I'm fucking scared of them. And these things are like alien versions of those.
Yes, they
to
are.
a point. Like they're not tentacles. They're more like, they're like an octopus meets a scorpion.
Yeah.
Kind of. There were a couple moments in this movie that literally I found myself like moving in the seat, and like it was if you ever watched like we actually mentioned this movie last week, but like Arachnophobia, and then like while you're watching a movie like that where it's like spiders or something, you like feel like something's crawling on you and you're like, oh fuck. That was how I was feeling last night in the movie, and I was like, there's not very often that type of thing happens to me, but I was literally like physically uncomfortable at certain points watching this, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, like it was great. That's why I'm putting it up there, because it's classic storytelling within that franchise. Super fresh, new take on it, but with like today's technology.
Yeah.
And I thought it was all just a fucking home run. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
If you haven't yet, and you are a fan of the Alien movies, the Predator movies, the Alien versus Predator movies, like any of that shit, or just creature features in it as a whole, you're a fan of horror, you're a fan of fucking suspense and
Sci-fi,
thriller, sci-fi, like all of it, go fucking see this movie. Go see it in theaters. Support the theaters. It's fucking well worth the money to spend to go see it. The experience is well worth it.
I agree, 100%.
We're going to stick in the same vein because this brings us to Alien Earth, which is an upcoming FX series that is going to be premiering in 2025 on Hulu by Noah Hawley. He's the creator of it. The synopsis of this show, it's the world of aliens, right? It's the world of Ridley Scott's Aliens. It says, when a mysterious space vessel crash lands on Earth, a young woman and a ragtag group of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. It stars Sidney Chandler, Alex Lothar, Essie Davis, and Timothy Olyphant, which is the only one that I know. Yeah, I mean, there were a handful of other people. I just took the top four that were there. Timothy Olyphant's the only one that I recognize.
Same here.
Like I might, if I saw pictures of the other ones, I might recognize them in something else, but just based off the names, I don't know. But again, it's created by Noah Hawley. One thing I'm interested in about this is place on like the overall timeline. Yeah, I'm wondering where it takes place, like in terms of the first Aliens all the way to, or like even Prometheus, because like Prometheus and Alien Covenant and all that were set before the first Aliens, all the way to like AVP. Like where are we at on the timeline here? Because Alien Romulus was, I want to say it was like 5 years after the first Aliens or something like that. It was
between the first two movies.
Because the Romulus space station played a role in the first two, right? So,
yeah. I read that this is supposedly supposed to take place before the first Aliens.
Cool.
In the timeline, so
cool. Okay,
so
I did not read that. So
I'm excited.
I was unsure. Cool. Yeah. No. They have it's a true teaser trailer, right?
Yeah.
Like a true teaser, because there's zero information that you get from it other than you get a pretty fucking creepy, terrifying look at the xenomorph.
Yeah.
So you get a pretty good look at the alien itself. And I mean, just as you would expect, it's fucking creepy as shit. So
yeah.
And this is a series which I love. I love movies, but I also, to a point, like I like series as well, just because they can do more.
Yeah, and
they're not as limited to the time constraint.
I like these series that could be easily big screen movies, and I think Alien. I mean, we said it. We just saw a movie in theaters, and this can obviously tie into that. It sounds pretty cool because like I said, I read that it does take place before Aliens, and the director is talking to Ridley Scott, even though Ridley Scott's not tied to this.
Yeah.
But it does take place in his universe, so he is trying to make it fit in everything. So that gets me a little more excited about it.
Absolutely. Next thing we got is Agatha All Along. We've talked about this multiple different times. It's the next MCU project that's coming out. I believe it premieres on September 18th on Disney+.
Yes, it does.
We got a new trailer for it just the other day. And the new trailer, I think the biggest takeaway from this trailer was a single moment in the trailer. It was like kind of almost a blink and you miss it type thing. But it was I forget the actor's name that plays Teen. That's what his name is. In right now. Like that's what it's being credited as and everything. It's just Teen. Obviously everybody kind of knows that there's more to that. That's just kind of a placeholder right now. But he also, the actor did in an interview say that it's not just like a code name. That is actually like in the show what everyone refers to him as. But in the trailer, you get a moment where he is, at least it looks like he's about to say his actual name. And then almost like a X-Files, like old school X-Files-esque. There was one episode of X-Files from way back when, like the original X-Files run that I remember. And I always think of this for some reason. But there was one episode where people's mouths would get just like removed and it was just skin and they like couldn't talk. And that's kind of what happens with him, but it's almost more like sewn.
Like Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool?
Close.
First iteration of Deadpool?
Yeah. But it wasn't even like sewn. It was just like his mouth was gone and there was a design.
Yes.
Over it. Right? And the design is where it has the online fandom kind of running rampant right now. And because that design looked like a very eloquent and elegant M. And people are like, there's only one thing that could be pointing to. And we could totally be off. But there's a couple other things from before that I want to point out here. What the fan base is running wild with is thinking that there's like no other option. It has to be the fact that Mephisto is coming to the MCU. Couple things. The Darkhold has always had deep comic ties to Mephisto. Mephisto is the MCU's devil, right? He runs Hades or Hell in the MCU. The other thing that I think kind of adds a little bit more basis to this is the fact that, and we've talked about this before, I believe, too, but I have seen articles, I've read articles, nothing has been confirmed, but I have read that Sacha Baron Cohen has been in talks and or has actually been cast in a mystery role in the MCU, but nobody knows what it is. And since that came out, I haven't seen anything else about it. When that first came out, everyone was like, he'd be fucking perfect to play Mephisto. I don't know why I'm struggling saying that name. And I have gone on record, I think even maybe just last week or the week before, that I do not like Sacha Baron Cohen. I am not a fan of his. However, I think he would be perfect for this.
I agree.
So, who knows where we're actually going with it? We're going to find out at some point between September 18th and the conclusion of Agatha All Along as to whether or not Mephisto actually does play a role in this show. God damn, that would be a hell of a way to introduce him. And I mean, there's definite ties to all of the comic book lore of all of it to have that actually take place and have that be a thing. How that plays into the greater MCU as a whole, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm excited because I feel like this is like kind of what we were talking about with the Seahawks, where it's like there's so much unknown. There's so much unknown for me with Agatha All Along. And I love Katherine Hahn. I loved her as Agatha Harkness. I am excited for this show. I think it's one of those shows where it's like could very easily be another just Disney Plus bust, but one that I'm gonna fucking love, whether it busts or not. Like whether it's critically panned, I don't give a shit because I think it's gonna be awesome and I'm excited for it.
I'm really excited. I didn't know that there was another trailer until we discussed this for today's episode, and I just watched it and I was like, oh, I think he's right. I love the little things they add to the trailers, the very tiny things that get people talking about it. And there's not a lot that happens in the movie world like Marvel does, and gets people talking. I think that's the fun of it, and gets people theorizing of what's going to come. And I like where it could be headed in.
Absolutely. So this brings us to our brand new segment that we are doing for the first time this episode. It is Toasted or Trash. We talked about this. I presented this last week, I think.
Two episodes ago.
Yeah. I presented this idea to you. You liked it. So we said, fuck it. Let's run it and let's test it out and see how it goes. And I mean, so far, I think we both enjoyed it.
I did. I really did.
I think it's a good way to get us both watching different movies and potentially new movies or just rewatching movies, however it goes. So the idea behind this is we would each assign a movie to each other throughout the week, and however often we decide to do this. But like when we're going to do it, we would assign a movie to each other throughout the week for us each to watch before the episode. And then we would each watch those respective movies, and then we're going to just kind of discuss it on the show, just kind of like how we liked the movie. Again, we're not going to do like a full breakdown of the movie because that's unnecessary. Like if you want to know more about it, go watch it. But just kind of give our thoughts, give our take on the movie, how we felt about it, whether we each thought the movie that we watched was toasted or trash, and then whether the person that gave it to us thought it was toasted or trash, and then kind of like a little game show-esque piece to this here. So the first thing we're going to start with is the one that I gave to Tim, and that was The Double. The movie came out in 2011. It is directed by Michael Brandt. It stars Richard Gere and Topher Grace. For those of you that don't know, Topher Grace played Eric Foreman on that 70s show, and he was also Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
Of Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. Synopsis of the movie is a retired CIA operative is paired with a younger FBI agent to unravel the mystery of a senator's murder, with all signs pointing to a Soviet assassin. Timmy?
Dude,
had you seen this movie before?
I had not seen this movie.
That was my goal. I was hoping you had it.
Had not seen this movie. It was fun to see Richard Gere again. I was telling Haley, I was like, dude, this guy, like, yes, he's older, but he looks the same as when I saw him in Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride. Yeah. Still the same guy, but it was nice to see him.
He's had the luxurious white hair since he was like 22 years old, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. And it was just nice to see him in, because I think I've only really seen him in like romantic comedy movies.
Yeah, for sure.
So it was nice to see him in this like spy thriller movie. And then Topher Grace, kind of the same thing, seeing him in goofy roles, rom-com films, and then the one-off where he was Venom, and thought that was pretty cool. But really what I liked about the movie was just like, it's a throwback to 90s spy thriller movies, I thought. And I mean, I know the movie's older, it's 2011, but even then that's way past the 90s of when these movies were coming out, those type of movies were coming out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I thought it was toasted, and I'm going to say that you thought this movie was toasted.
I did, yeah, for sure. This movie, literally anytime I've ever been asked for, like by anyone, a recommendation of just something to watch, I throw this movie out, because from the moment, I had never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, until I had never seen it before I just bought the DVD. And I mean, I probably bought this in fucking 2013, right? Like maybe even shortly after it came out on DVD. I don't know exactly. I've had it for years. I never saw anything about it. Didn't see a trailer for it. Never went and saw it in theaters or anything. And I just happened to be like, what the fuck's this? I was like, Richard Gere and Topher Grace. I read the back of it, essentially what the synopsis is, right? And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna try it out. And then I watched it and I was like, this movie's fucking awesome. Like, it's so good. And you want a goddamn movie that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat and on your toes the whole fucking time, like literally not knowing what the fuck's going to happen next? this is the fucking movie for you.
Agreed.
Like, it was, and again, without giving anything away fully, but I mean, the movie is fucking almost 15 years old, but
I never even heard of it, so maybe give people a chance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Some twists and turns that you probably wouldn't fucking see coming ever.
Nope.
Like, you would, there's shit in this that you would not expect. So that was why I was like, I got to give this to Tim. He's got to see this shit.
He knows that I love twists, so that was the perfect movie.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Awesome. I'm happy you liked it, because that was definitely toasted in my book. Which
leads me to the movie that I recommended for you. And actually, this was a first-time watch for me, too, when I recommended it. So we're going to get live reaction to the toasted or trash part. But it's a movie that came out in 2013, so similar time frame. Stars Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, and Vanessa Hudgens. The director,
and 50 Cent.
And 50 Cent.
I forgot about until I...
And the director was Scott Walker. Synopsis of this movie was: an Alaskan state trooper partners with a young woman who escaped the clutches of serial killer Robert Hansen to bring the murderer to justice, based on actual events. So, what did you think of this movie?
So it was funny. I actually had seen this before.
Oh, so you've seen this?
Yes, I had actually seen this before. But it was funny because I forgot about it. Like, I saw it... I want to say it was I was in college, so it wasn't too long after the movie came out that I watched this. It was when it came out on DVD, so it was probably close to a year after it came out or whatever. Because I mean, that was the time frame where like it wasn't like a movie was out for 2 months and then it went to streaming.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to wait for it to come out on DVD, and so I mean, it was probably close to a year after it had premiered, or maybe a little after. But I'd watched it. And then honest to God, had kind of over the years, I'd forgotten about that fucking movie. So then when you sent that to me, I was like, that sounds fucking familiar. I was like, why do I know that title? And then I like looked it up and I was like, oh fuck, I've seen this. But I was like, I don't remember it. So that's awesome. So
that's awesome.
It was not a nod to last week's episode, Jurassic Park Rebirth. It was like a rebirth for me of watching this. I really liked the movie. I'm gonna say just for myself that it's toasted. It's a very gritty, very dark, but very well done true crime serial killer thriller. I think I think I thought it was super well done. I think John Cusack playing that role it's one of those things that you're like, oh, it's perfect. But it was so catches you off guard.
Yeah.
Because you're like, John fucking Cusack? Really? Like, fucking goddamn...
High fidelity.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking holding the goddamn boombox and fucking hot tub time machine.
Fucking true.
Like, the cop in Con Air. Like...
Yeah, which was funny because Nick Cage was in Con Air.
Yeah, Nick Cage, yeah. So it was just like catches you off guard to see that, but then you're like watching it and you're like, that's almost like too fucking good. Like you're like, he could actually be killing people in real life and no one would know, because that's just he seems like that everyday nice guy. You know what I mean? And he plays that super well. Vanessa Hudgens, I thought like I think this was like a good, at the time, obviously, like a kind of a good breakout role for her to get away from all the child acting stuff she did. She ends up she's a fucking drugged out prostitute that ends up being a stripper at some point throughout it too, like all of this. So like it was just like a very mature adult role for her that you hadn't really seen her in before this movie came out. And then you got fucking Nicolas Cage, who's, Nicolas fucking Cage. He's goddamn badass motherfucker. I love the movie, dude. I think it was great, and I would definitely watch it again. I was happy that you suggested this one because it allowed me to rewatch it and get an even better appreciation for it than I probably did when I was fucking 21.
Yeah,
20 or 21 years old. So, yeah,
cool. What do you think I thought of it?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. I have to do that. I hope you thought it was toasted.
I did.
Okay.
I
was
did.
like, I really hope you thought it was toasty because I really like the movie, and I'm going to be surprised if we're that far off on it.
No, a lot of what you said is so true. I thought it was a cool take on the serial killer movie because you knew who the serial killer was throughout the movie.
Exactly.
And I really enjoy based on true events movies. It gets me researching afterwards, like what happened and everything.
Same. I do the same thing. I feel like to your point with like it was a new take. It felt almost like Law and Order esque. I think I love Law and Order SVU is like one of my favorite shows of all time. And it felt like a lot of the times, maybe not every episode, but like their episodes on the show that have like multi-episode arcs where like you know who the bad guy is, and then you're like seeing the events play out to them trying to catch him, and then they don't know who it is, but like we know who it is. That was exactly like what you just said. That's what this was. Like you're then watching the bad guy that you know's the bad guy, but they don't know that it's the bad guy, but you're watching the bad guy do the bad guy things even more without knowing that like there is this group of cops that are kind of onto him, but they don't actually have any evidence on him. It's just that whole fucking more, it's less of I guess the raw just like serial killer vibes, and it was more of like the cat and mouse type thing almost,
I would agree with that.
So
thoroughly enjoyed it. Just one point I want to call out is that 50 Cent did play a PIMP pimp.
Sure as fucking shit did.
It made me laugh out loud.
And it was one of those things where I was watching it again for like the second time, and I totally like it took me a couple scenes to realize I was like, fuck, that's 50 Cent because of how thin he had gotten to play that role.
Yeah.
I've totally fucking forgot about that. But he looks, and I mean, he's got fucking long hair. And like it looks almost nothing like 50 Cent. Like, because 50 Cent's like a buff motherfucker, like thick as shit. And he was like,
he was thin,
almost cancerous thin.
Yeah,
you know, like I mean, you could like see like the indents of his cheekbones and shit, and it was like, oh my god, that's Curtis Jackson. God, motherfucker, I forgot that he's in this. Yeah, so fuck yeah, dude.
Really like the segment. It got us watching different movies.
I like it too. I
really like it.
Me too. I look for. I've liked all of the Blockbuster segments we've done so far. I think it adds a new, different kind of fold into what we're doing, and it also ups our blockbuster intake.
Yeah,
for ourselves.
So, listeners, if you've seen these movies, let us know what you think, and if you haven't, definitely recommend both of them.
Yeah,
both of us thought,
dude, I would just go on and fucking comment whether you think it's toasted or trash.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe we'll throw out a fucking like 2 different posts, like one with each movie, and see if we can get any commenters on it.
Perfect.
Anyways, Blockbusters question of the week.
I posted this one as well. In spirit of the toasted or trash, it just got me thinking of other movies I wanted to recommend to people.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what are movies that are really slept on, that aren't really talked about a lot, but you just thoroughly enjoyed? I got a couple in mind, so I want you to come up with 2 movies you want to recommend to me and or our listeners.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to, again, in honor of Toasted or Trash, I'm going to just kind of do an honorable mention of The Frozen Ground.
Okay.
I think this one easily could have been one had I remembered it without Toasted or Trash.
Yeah.
And I think that's even a little bit more of kind of an ode to the fact that it is a sleeper, because it's a really good movie. It's really well done. And if that's the type of genre that you like, I think like this is definitely a movie that you should see. However, I do have 2 that I picked for this that are not that. So I'm going to go, I was like, I want to do 2 in 2 different genres. So I went one comedy,
okay,
kind of romantic, maybe more on just the comedy side, but it's kind of romantic comedy. And then an action thriller, maybe more of an action, suspenseful action movie. So the first one I'm going to do the comedy, and I'm going to say Wanderlust.
Oh, dude.
Paul Rudd,
Love that movie.
Jennifer Aniston, fucking great. There's so many quotable moments from that movie that I use on a regular fucking basis. Do you like my erection selection? Just Paul Rudd's he's a national treasure, man. He's so good. So that's that one. My other one is Four Brothers.
Oh,
Mark Wahlberg, Tyrese Gibson, Andre 3000. God damn it.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And then I forget the actor who played the younger brother, but those four are in it. And then the original Don Cheadle took over for him in Iron Man.
Oh, Howard.
Terrence Howard. Thank you. I was like, what the fuck's his name? Terrence Howard's also in it. Fucking solid movie, I think, in my opinion. It's literally like, it's called Four Brothers. They're all adoptive brothers. Their adoptive mother gets murdered and they all come back. I think it's like in Detroit, I think. And they all come back and try to figure out like who killed her. And like, then once they do, it's like kind of like out for blood type thing.
Gotcha.
But there's a lot of different family kind of constructs that are very relatable, and there's just a lot of shit that goes on in that movie that just keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's all around it reminds me of I'm like every time I watch it I'm like, I can see me and my brothers doing this type of thing, like someone fucks us over and then we're out for blood type of thing.
Yeah, that sounds like the smarts.
Yeah, unfortunately I feel like that is kind of built into my family, but yeah, so
those are good choices. I've seen Wanderlust and thoroughly enjoy it, and then Four Brothers I have not seen, so I'm gonna take that back and watch that now.
Well, I can't put it on Toasted or Trash because you already know how I feel about it. So, yeah, but you gotta go fucking.
I'm gonna go watch it, but I agree those movies were slept on. I don't think a lot of people talked about those movies, so good choices. My two choices, I also went with two different genres. I didn't want to make it boring and I wanted something.
One of them's in the horror genre, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. And then the comedy?
Yes.
Oh!
2 for 2. But
it's like I know you.
But I think it's fun. We give our listeners a chance to enjoy one genre. Maybe horror's not for everyone. All right. So the horror genre, I went with You're Next. It's a break-in horror movie, and it's so good, man. It is so good, and it's a tense one. It has you on the edge of your seat. And I don't think it gets the love that it deserves. It's new. It's kind of like a Scream. It's making fun of itself in the movie, but it's still scary as hell.
Yeah.
And it can really happen in real life. So So You're Next. And then the comedy one, and this is an older one, it's Saving Silverman. This movie, I think a lot of similar movies were coming out at the same time, so it kind of gets not talked about. Like, my group of people did watch it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. It has Jack Black, it has Steve Zahn, and Jason Biggs and Amanda Peet, and it's a freaking hilarious movie.
It's Arlie Ermy.
Yep.
It's fucking great. Yeah. And I don't know that there were actually a lot of movies of that same concept in the comedy genre coming out at that time.
True.
But it truly is. I think that one is kind of a standalone.
It really is.
But to your point, it did not get the love that I think it deserved, because that movie's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
And the concept of it is so unique.
Yep.
Like, it really is so fucking unique.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I was talking with Haley, and I just don't like, I'm like, there back then it seemed like so many movies were coming out, and so not everything made it to theaters, but now it seems like things slow down, and there is straight to streaming movies, but a lot of the ones that people talk about are in theaters. So this one was definitely not talked about enough, and it is hilarious. So highly recommend seeing You're Next, or if you want a good laugh, Saving Silverman.
Yeah, absolutely. So, fuck, dude, we got it right there. 4 recommendations for our listeners: Saving Silverman, You're Next, Wanderlust, Four Brothers.
Boom, man.
We got 2 different comedy and very different ends of the comedy genre too.
For
is
sure.
what I would put those as. So I think we covered a good portion there. Then we got in kind of suspenseful action movie, and then we got a horror movie. So covered some different areas there.
Yeah.
Something that hopefully everybody could enjoy.
All right, man.
Fucking shit, dude. Episode 14.
Episode 14.
In the books.
Let's